is what I need. Now if you wanna get the best of me, got you smiling, that's for sure. Funny how you had the best of you. I don't know if I'll make it home. I don't know, not like I care. All I know, sound of disco. Only know I want the best of us. So I dance the night away when nobody's awake. I'll be the last to stay. Dance the night away, no matter what they say. Dance the night away when nobody's awake. I'll be the last to stay. Dance the night away, no matter what they say. Let's go fast. So I dance the night away when nobody's awake. I'll be the last to stay. Dance the night away, no matter what they say. Dance the night away when nobody's awake. I'll be the last to stay. Dance the night away, no matter what they say. That's the night away. That's the night away. That's the night away. That's the night away, no matter what they say. That's the night away. That's the night away. That's the night away.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to join APNIC 59 AGM meeting. Today is the last day of APNIC meetings, and thank you for being here with us. So I believe over the past few days, we have a lot of insightful discussion and collaboration that also demonstrate the strength of our community. So first, I'd like to introduce APNIC Executive Council. And APNIC Executive Council is the governing body of the APNIC. And may I invite the APNIC Executive Council introduce yourself, starting from the one on far right, starting from Camps.
Sorry, morning. This is Camps, one of the APNIC EC member, and I'm based in Singapore. Thank you.
This is Achi Atienza from Philippines.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Anlei Hu from APNIC based in Beijing.
Good morning. I'm Shumon from Bangladesh.
Good morning. I am Rupinder Parhar. I come from Internet Service Providers Association of India. I am based in India.
Hi, this is Yoshinobu Matsuzaki, Treasurer. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jarong. I'm the Director General.
Thank you. Kenny Huang, Chair of APNIC Executive Council from Taipei. Okay. Although we only have last day, but actually we have a lot of agenda for today. And initially we are going to review APNIC activity and financial outlook. And of course, we have EC election. I also like to take this chance because, as I mentioned, EC will be the governing body of the APNIC. So it will be essential process for demonstrate how we govern the APNIC. So that's a very critical step. If you haven't voted for the APNIC EC, please do so. I think the voting will be closed at 2 p.m. this afternoon. So take any chance you have to try to vote. So, and also we're going to continue to discuss APNIC strategic and activity plan. And also we have a lot of SIG chair or co-chair going to give an update on regarding to different SIG, including policy SIG, corporation SIG, routing security SIG, and another SIG. And finally, we also have ASO. They will provide the ICP2 version 2 update that will inform us our future work and what we plan to do regarding to the global internet governance. Okay, thank you. Okay, finally, I'd like to take this chance to thank you a lot of people, including everyone, for you participating here. And I'd like to take my appreciation for all APNIC EC candidates, especially for new EC candidates. And because your commitment and your participation demonstrate that will be a very critical part of our to strengthen our governance. And thank you for your participation. And finally, I'd like to take this chance to thank APNIC Secretary and a lot of people supporting, especially APNIC team and the silent team on my right-hand side and some of the supporting team at the back of the room. Thank you very much. And thank you for your support to make APNIC 59 meeting possible. Thank you very much. I pass over to Jeremy. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeremy Harrison, and I'm the General Counsel at APNIC. Thank you. So I'll run you through the election procedures today for the EC election. So the APNIC Executive Council consists of 7 elected members, plus the Director General who serves in an ex officio capacity. Each serve for a 2-year term, and the terms of 4 APNIC EC members end at this AGM. All are eligible for re-election under the APNIC bylaws. With that, there are 4 seats available at this EC election, and the successful candidates will have their 2-year term commence from the announcement of the election results. All of the information that's included in this presentation is available on the election website. The EC election timeline is on the screen. As I mentioned, this is on the website, and I won't run through this in detail now, but we'll cover it off subsequently. For voting entitlements, votes are determined for members by their tier of membership, and that depends on their total chargeable IPv4 and IPv6 holdings. Some resources which are not chargeable, such as historical resources and experimental allocations, are excluded from the calculations. Nominations opened on Monday, the 6th of January at 2 p.m. UTC plus 10. That's Brisbane time, and they ended at 5:30 p.m. UTC plus 10 on the 6th of February. The nominations had to be submitted through the online nomination form on the Apricot website, with corporate context confirming the nomination for the relevant member. Nominees for the Executive Council must meet the eligibility requirements under the APNIC bylaws and also agree to abide by the bylaws and the rules governing the election, including the Code of Conduct. The Electoral Committee, which is established, oversees the conduct of nominees and also determines the Code of Conduct for each election. They're appointed by those EC members who are not contesting the election. This year, the Electoral Committee members appointed by the Executive Council were Donna Austin, Tukso Barat, Jonathan Brewer, and Rita Chowdhury, and Rupesh Shrestha. Voting commenced at 2 p.m. UTC plus 10 on the 13th of February and will end today at 2:30 p.m. UTC plus 8. That's local time here in Malaysia. Voting is conducted online via My APNIC using the Big Pulse voting system, and corporate contacts with voting rights, and duly appointed proxies can cast their votes. For proxy appointment, the proxy appointment period opened on the 13th of February and closed on the 25th of February. The voting period for proxies commences today from 9:30 a.m. UTC plus 8 and will close at 2:30 p.m. UTC plus 8. Proxies can be appointed by the corporate contacts and is completed by My APNIC. At the close of the voting, election officers will hold a meeting with the scrutineers where they will download the election results and email the results to the election chair. The election results will be announced today at approximately 3:30 p.m. UTC plus 8 local time. And the election chair at that time will also disclose whether any disputes were raised and how they were resolved. On the screen is an example of how the results are presented. These are the results from last year's election, and that will also be available on the Apricot website following the announcement. This year's election chair is Dr. Tommy Chen. He's appointed by the APNIC EC, must be independent from any APNIC member and candidates, and have no interest in the election results. So the responsibility is to oversee the election process, appoint the scrutineers, declare the results, and resolve any disputes that are raised. This year, the election officers are Andre Gelderblom and Sarah Macquarie. They're appointed by the APNIC EC and are selected from the APNIC Secretariat staff. So they administer the call for nominations, manage the voting processes, and retrieve the online voting results. The election scrutineers are selected from staff of internet organizations such as the other RIRs, ICANN, and ISOC, who are present here at the meeting. They do not vote and must be independent from any APNIC member or candidate. This year, the election chair has selected Athena Fraguli from RIPE NCC and Michael Abuela from ARIN. They will observe the downloading of the election results and then notify the election chair in case any anomaly or issue is identified. For notices of dispute, if there is a complaint regarding the conduct of the election itself, it must be lodged in writing with the election chair no later than 1 hour before the scheduled declaration of the election results. Notices can be lodged by nominees or members through their authorized voting representatives by email to election-chair@apnic.net. And the election chair can resolve any disputes at their discretion. For any complaints regarding nominee conduct, that can be sent to electoral-committee@apnic.net, and that will then be considered by the electoral committee. And that's it for me. Now I'd like to hand over to Dr. Tommy Chen. Dr. Chen was a member of the Executive Council from 1997 to 2000 and also served as the chair of the EC from 1999 to 2000. So we're very glad to have him back and serve in this role. And just for interest, when I met him the other day, he was wearing a T-shirt from Apricot 2. So I'll hand over to Dr. Chen.
Thanks, Jeremy. It's great to be back. Good morning. Anyone know? Anyone know what year this T-shirt is from? APNIC? The logo has changed, right? 94. Wow. APNIC wasn't around. Okay, I can't remember myself because there's no date here, but Memura told me just now, good memory, year 2000. Yeah, so I haven't been back for a while and I see quite a bit of changes, both in Apricot and APNIC. You know, those days when it comes to election, the Director General at that time was called Paul. He'll just stand up, say a few words, introduce the candidates, and the candidate would stand up and they will speak for 5 minutes, each of the candidates, each of the nominees. And that's it, you know. The election begins by show of hand. There were no proxies those days, those early days, show of hand. And then somebody will count the votes. So you have 15 minutes to chat among yourselves and they will check everything and they'll announce the results. That's it, half an hour. Those were the good old days. We actually don't have a podium, we're down there. Those were different days. But of course, it has changed. APNIC has grown up. Oops, my slide. Yeah, so today I'm honored to serve as the election chair. Now, unlike those days, there are no speeches from the nominees, but they have been invited to post a video of their profile on a website, which you can refer to. Now, that's about it. So that leaves me to introduce the nominees running for election today. You can find the profiles and the statements on the APNIC EC website. Okay. The first nominee is Kenny Huang. Well, so here. The second is Rupinder Singh Perha. Third is Bertrand Sherrier. I hope I pronounced correctly. Are you French? Sorry. The fourth is Yoshinobu Matsuzaki. The fifth is Anlehu, sorry. And finally, the last, the sixth, is Rob Thomas. So I wish the nominees the best of luck. Members, now there's a few procedural things, I'll just read it out from the notes. The member online voting is already open, and proxy online voting is now open to proxy voters who meet the voting criteria. I think this was explained by Jeremy earlier. If anyone is having any voting or login issues, please contact APNIC Help Desk via phone or live chat. And there you are. So I'd like to declare that the voting is open. It will end at 2:30 today. And I will come back here at about 3:30 to announce the results. So good luck. Thank you.
And the next one will be Tommy. Can you go to the stage to introduce APNIC activity? Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. Hi, everybody. I'm going to run through. Oh, I've got it up. I'm going to run through the year that was for APNIC in 2024 and give you a flavour of some of the activities that we got up to. You'll be familiar with this slide by now, I hope. This basically just shows how we categorise our work and activities at APNIC. So the registry and development work, which is our core work, supported by our engagement outside of the organisation, and capability, which is I guess, all of the services that underpin the business. I'm going to start with registry. And I'm going to start with IPv6 rather than IPv4 because why not? This chart here shows you the number of delegations that we've made over the past 10 years, and the amount of IPv6 in 2024 was slightly down on 2023, the number of delegations. But that only tells half the story, because if you look at the amount of space that we delegated, it was a lot more in 2024 than it was in 2023. This is a logarithmic scale, because if it was done at a normal scale, some of those bars would be well and truly off the slide. But there was a large /17 of IPv6 delegated to Huawei in Singapore this year, which accounts for the large purple bar that you see there. So while there were less delegations, there was a lot more space that was actually delegated in 2024. IPv4 delegations were also down in 24, and you can see there, apart from, I guess, the bump in 2021 and 2022, this has been a slow decline trend over the past 10 years. ASNs remain fairly stable, down on 2023 again, but most of the time, the amount of ASNs that we delegate generally stays underneath that sort of 1,000 mark each year. The large spike that you see there in 2021 was due to some very big delegations to India and China. The transfer market this year was, the amount of space we delegated was pretty much in line with 2022. So on this chart, the coloured bars represent the amount of IPv4 that was transferred. The line shows the number of transactions. So while the amount of space that we delegated was broadly in line with 2 years ago, the number of transactions to get there was at a record high, if you're looking at this chart. So there was a lot. What it basically means is there were a lot of small transfers that went on this year. Jeff talked about our V4 pool in his presentation at the open policy meeting. And he talked about the amount of space that was reserved and available throughout the regions around the world. This is just looking obviously at APNIC, and you can see in 2024, we've made a lot of effort to make as much of the reserved space available as possible to the members, for new members to APNIC. And so you'll see that the gap between the green and the blue is at its most narrow point now. There's pretty much all of the space that we have now is available. There's only a small amount that's reserved. Membership continued to grow, albeit at a slower rate. We passed 10,000 APNIC members in 2024, which was a milestone for us. And you'll see that the number of NIR sub-accounts continues to grow as well. Membership growth is slowing. You'll probably hear a bit more about that in the Treasurer's report. But 10,000 members is a milestone for us. Satisfaction with what we do remained high with the help desk, which is fantastic. We get a lot of feedback from our members, not only via the help desk, but at events like this, when we go out and about in the community. And that feedback helps us improve things like our training, our products and services, and generally how we do business and help serve you. So please keep it coming. The biggest part of that is the survey, which we do every 2 years. 2024 was a survey year, and we had over 1,100 respondents. So thank you to everybody in the community and everyone in this room who participated in that survey. The feedback that we get from the survey helps us build our plans and contributed to the development of the 2025 plan. Our product teams are very, very busy. They maintain this website, so I've got an image of just here called roadmap.apnic.net. It shows what we're working on, what they're developing each year. And while the different, I guess, items and goals move around based on what the priorities are at the time, you can see what we're working on. So I encourage you to have a look at that if you're interested in the development work that's going on. This year, some of the highlights include the registry API that were completed, some contact management changes in MyAPNIC, which are really important and hopefully helpful for those of you using MyAPNIC. And we also made a bunch of changes to improvements to Dash as well. There were a lot of user engagements. This is in addition to the feedback we get elsewhere. So our product teams will go in and actually interview either online or face-to-face at events like this, members of the community, to ask them about our products, to get feedback, to see how we can improve it, whether it just be small UX improvements right through to functionality itself. Now, underneath all of these products is it's a very busy technical team working away to keep them online, which we managed to do and maintain at 4 nines this year, which is great, but also making sure that they're secure and that everything works correctly. We've got a big project on at the moment to migrate all of our servers from an expiring Linux operating system to a new one, which is taking us through to next year. And the other highlight that I've put here is that we introduced static application security testing to all our product pipelines. So this means that as we're developing code, we're weeding out any potential security issues as we go rather than finding them at the end. So there's a lot of work going on there, but if you're interested, please go to the roadmap. It will tell you more. We had a great policy discussion yesterday. Even though we only had 2 policies for discussion, it was a really lively chat. So please, if you weren't there, come along and get involved in our policy processes. They are important. We had a very busy year last year, as you can see on screen. We hope to have another busy policy session again in September. We have to keep Patron busy, and it is important. You know, if you haven't developed a policy before, if you see something about the way that address space is managed in this region or how addresses are used, and you do have an idea or you want to talk about it, policy is the way to do so. Don't be afraid to develop a policy. If you've got an idea, you can come and talk to members of the Secretariat, but also there's a lot of members of the community on that policy SIG mailing list who are quite experienced and they're willing to help. So please get involved. Okay, I'm going to move to the development now. So as you know, we do a lot of training throughout the region, and you can see a whole bunch of statistics there at the bottom of the screen. This training is both face-to-face and online. One of the biggest things we worked on last year, the training team worked on last year, was a move to certification. And the trials were held for that in Nepal and the Philippines, and the photos you can see on screen there were from the trials that were held in the Philippines. And the lessons learned from those trials is now moving through to a beta trial this year. So we'll be doing more of this, and hopefully we can perfect this certification process that we're going through. So everyone here did an exam at the end of their training, and for the most part, I think just about everybody passed, which was great. We get a lot of funding for our training work from the Asia Pacific Internet Development Trust, but we also partnered with Asia Connect this year for 10 events, which was great. And our training team is supported by a network of trainers throughout the community. So these are both volunteers and also trainers who we pay a small amount to help support our training team in Brisbane. We can't get out to everywhere. There's a lot of people out in the community who help us, and they supported 137 events last year, which is great. The NOGs are the lifeblood of our community, and we do a lot of work with them throughout this region. We support them not only through helping sponsor their events, but technical assistance by participating in program committees, organising committees, and speaking at the events as well, and helping them along the way. We do the same thing with security, with the security community as well, particularly working with certs in our region. So it's important to us, the community. We know events like this are great for bringing everyone together, but the real work happens on the ground in all the various economies around the region, and that's why we get involved. We're also the local host for ITF 119 in Brisbane. First time ITF's been to Brisbane, Brisbane been to Australia for a very, very long time, decades, and so we're very happy to support that. We also run a HoneyNet, this is one of Adley's initiatives, where we are providing security feeds information through to Dash, our own product, but also to people like Shadow Server Foundation, MISP, and to various certs around the region. Internet development is important to us, not just as training, but also the infrastructure side. So we worked to help get IXPs off the ground around the region, as well as deploying mRoot server instances. And you can see on screen there some of the areas where we've been doing that work. We also provide technical assistance to members around these projects, and that technical assistance can range from all sorts of things, whether it be IXPs, IPv6 deployment, problems with rowers, whatever it might be. We do a lot of that work to help our members essentially use to run their networks more efficiently and deploy some of these more advanced technologies. So we did 30 of those this year, and that's all powered by the training team. You'll be familiar with this guy. He does a lot of speaking at these events. He does a lot of speaking around the world, as you can see there, 30 presentations last year. Age does not slow him, he keeps going. But we also, from all the research that Jeff and the labs team do, there's also collaborative research as well. So we work with the Global Cyber Alliance on manners information. We do some DNSSEC measurements for ICANN, and also work with Cloudflare on the 1.1.1 resolver as well. All right, I'm going to talk about engagement now. What you can see on screen here is just, I guess it's statistics showing the number of engagements we do around the region and the type of thing that we do. There's 512 in 2024. And these range from things such as you can see on screen, training, development, conferences, government events, security events, whatever it may be, both online, face-to-face. We are involved in this region a lot. We try to make sure we're getting out there and helping the community as much as possible. And you can see from the spread of the locations there that there was a lot around the entire region, but also some outside this region as well, a small number there. But the big areas of focus last year was Southeast Asia and South Asia. The conferences are incredibly important to us. As Philip said yesterday, this has been a big one. A lot of people here, a great vibe. I hope you've all enjoyed it. This is looking back to last year. As you can see, there's some big numbers as well, which is fantastic. We really do appreciate everybody who comes along to the conferences. This bottom part there, you see the NPS, is a Net Promoter Score. For those of you who are not familiar what that is, it's a way of us measuring your satisfaction with these conferences. And please, when the conference survey comes out at the end of this conference on the APRICOT website, please go and take it. It really, really is important for us to know if we're doing the right thing or not, if there's things we can improve. But with a Net Promoter Score, anything over 0 is positive. If you get to sort of that 20 or 30 range, it's pretty good. So knocking out scores like 60 and 63 are really pleasing for us. Unlike in other parts of the world, diversity is incredibly important for us. And we have we have a very diverse region. And we want to keep encourage that diverse participation in our community. We do that through the fellowship program. Philip talked about the fellowship program at APRICOT yesterday in the closing ceremony. We run a fellowship program at the September conferences. This was in Wellington when we had 28 fellows come in. We had a lot of applicants, as you can see. It's a big job for the fellowship committee to weed through all those applicants and find the fellows that we can support from our funding. So thank you to them for their efforts. But as I said, diversity is important to us. We try to maintain a 50-50 gender split, and the program is not just giving people a plane ticket and coming along to the conference. It's actually like a 6-month program where there's a lot of education and webinars provided beforehand. We have volunteer mentors in the community who can help provide advice. So when the fellows do come along to the conference, they're engaged, informed, and we can get the most out of the experience. We also like to welcome a lot of newcomers to our conferences. It means that we're helping getting some renewal in our community. Some of us have been here a while and we're getting older. And so having good turnover of new people coming, new faces in our community is fantastic. And as you can see on screen there, around 37 to 40% for both the conferences, which is pretty good. We hear a lot in the APNIC survey about the need for APNIC to continue to engage with governments and other stakeholders outside of the immediate technical community to make sure they understand what we do, what they do, how that impacts network operators, and how our members do business. And so we did a lot of work this year with the ITU and some of the other organizations you can see on screen here around policy. We were participating in consultations throughout the UN Digital Compact. So there's a lot of work we do around this. We know it's important for members and it's a focus of ours moving forward. The other thing we do is we support IGFs in the region, not just the global IGF, but also the APR IGF and the smaller economy level IGFs and schools of internet governance. The final thing on the slide here is about the ICP2 review. I'm not going to go into detail on this because we actually have some presentations coming up later on in this, but ICP2 has been it's a document which talks about the creation of an RIR, and it's very old and it needs review. The NROEC asked the ASOAC, or the NRONC, as we sometimes refer to them, to look into this year. They've done a lot of work on it to review it. We're happy to support them, and you'll hear more today on that, but they've got a big job to do, and we're very happy to support them. In 2024, the blog had a milestone. It was its 10th anniversary. We started the APNIC blog back in 2014 because there wasn't really anywhere else to get for people in this community to find a lot of the news you wanted to read around network operations. Most of our technology media in the region had been killed off by the internet. And so to find these stories, people were saying, where do we go? So we created the blog, and from some pretty humble beginnings, you can see now it's around getting around 100,000 views a month from not just within this community, but the global network operations community. So it's been a great success story, but it's been a success story because of you, because it's a community publishing initiative, and we've had 867 community members who have contributed blog posts over the 10 years. So that's, if you think about it, it's probably the entire attendance of this conference has basically submitted at least one blog post over that time. So it's a lot, and so thank you to everyone in the community for your efforts in helping make this a success. The other thing we do, which is much younger, is the podcast. And if you're into internet research, give it a listen. You'll hear from Jeff on there and other guest speakers from around the community as well. And now finally, capability. This is the work that underpins the business. It might be the boring stuff, but it's what makes us a good organization and one that can actually deliver to you. The APNIC EC appointed a new investment management firm this year, so we now have a new manager of the reserve funds. You'll probably hear some more on that later, but they're now in place. The appointment happened in 2024, but they are now up and running. Governments around the world continue to look for new ways to tax all of us, and so we need to be aware of how those taxes around our region impact us. So we have performed a review of our exposure there, and in areas where we find if there's anything we need to tweak or do, we comply with that. I'm not going to dwell on the finances because I know that Maz is going to talk about that in a moment. But just one point, that we restrained our annual expense growth to 1.5% this year. We're conscious of living within our means, and we did have a lot of deferred costs this year and some savings which helped do that. The people that run our business are really important, and I'm glad to say that our employee engagement survey results exceeded all of the global benchmarks that we set. So we're really happy with that. As I said, it's good to do well with keep our employees happy, because they're the ones that provide the service to you. And finally, we put in a new travel management system this year to improve efficiency and reduce our management costs. We used to use an external firm. We replaced those, and it's all now running in-house and running quite well. On the governance and risk side, Jeremy just talked through before the electoral committee for the 2025 elections. This was something which was created from the bylaw reforms passed by the members at the end of 2023. The first committee was in 2024, and they didn't find any issues at all, which is great. We place a lot of importance in trying to remain as secure as possible, secure operations. So our ISO 27001 certification is important to us. We passed a surveillance audit on that last year. This year we have a full audit for it, so we will be working hard to pass that again. 9001 is our quality assurance certification. We passed the surveillance audit last year. However, this year we're going to do things a little bit differently. We've had ISO 9001 certification now for over a decade. Each time we do it, we don't get a lot of feedback because we seem to keep passing with flying colors. It's not really giving us that sort of, keeping us on our toes, so to speak. And so we're going to start reinvesting into more dedicated quality assurance audits throughout the organisation to find ways that we can keep improving and making sure that we're running a tight ship. The EC formed 2 standing subcommittees, the Finance, Risk and Audit Committee and the Remuneration Committee this year, to help them do their work more efficiently. You'll probably hear more about that in Kenny's presentation. And finally, the preliminary resource delegation audits results were published. This is a program we began in 2024 to make sure that the resources and delegations that are by us and also the NIRs in our region are in line with policy. There were some initial results that were published in 2024, which you would have seen online. That program is being expanded in 2025, and I'll be back on stage later this afternoon to give you a full update on that, so I can tell you more then. In summary, this shows what we set out to do and what we achieved. Most of our goals were achieved. There were a small amount that weren't. If you'd like to read through in detail of which are the ones we hit and which are the ones we didn't, the annual report is online on the APNIC website. It goes through all of this information in detail, much more detail than I've gone through on these slides quite quickly today. So if you'd like to learn more, please go to the APNIC website under annual reports, and you can read through all of our activities for the year. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Mats, APNIC EC Treasurer, to give APNIC Treasury report. Mats, over to you.
Now I need to, yeah. Hi, good morning. This is Yoshinobu Matsuzaki. This time I'm going to share our treasurer's report. So this is our financial performance. APNIC's operating surplus for the year was about 400,000 versus budget operating deficit of 1.2 million. Oh, by the way, all dollars are in Australian dollars. So full year revenue exceeded the budget by 600,000. We had a higher than budgeted investment and returns, and also we had an additional revenue from partner training program. Full year expenses were 1 million below budget. We had lower travel expenditure. We also deferred program expenditure and then capex and depreciation. So APNIC's net surplus for the year was 1.5 million. Of course, this increase in the unrealized gain from devaluation of the investment portfolio of 1.1 million. Financial position, total assets have increased by 4.2 million year on year. This including an increase in the investment portfolio of 2.1 million from returns, reinvested and unrealized gains, and increase in property, plant, and equipment of 2.4 million from revaluation of APNIC's office. Total reliability have increased by almost 2 million year on year. We deferred the tax impact of the investment and the property devaluation of 1.7 million. Total equity at year end has increased by 2.3 million year on year. The financial stability measure is 16.66 months expenses covered by equity. That's good. So 2024 audit outcomes. So APNIC auditors, Ernst & Young, issued an unqualified audit opinion. So that means it was good, right? So financial report gives a true and fair view of the company's financial position at 31st December 2024 and of its financial performance for the year ended on that date. The financial report of the company comply with the relevant Australian accounting standards. Right? And actually, Ernst & Young met independently with the Finance, Risk, and Audit Committee, FRAC, on 18th February 2024. Our audited and finance report is already available on our website. And this Finance, Risk, and Audit Committee is a new subcommittee under EC. It was established by the EC at December 2024 meeting. It consists of 3 EC members, including me as a treasurer, Parhar, and Simon, to assist the EC in fulfilling its corporate governance and oversight responsibilities in relation to corporate reporting processes. The FRAC will meet quarterly in advance of the EC meeting, so we meet 4 times per year. The FRAC charter is available on the APNIC website as well. Our investment management, now we are in transition process. So LZT Creston were appointed APNIC's investment manager in December 2024, following an expensive tender process. Extensive tender, sorry, process, yep. APNIC have established that the account is LZT Creston, and the portfolio is currently being transitioned from UBS. we reviewed of the APNIC's investment and the capital or reserve management. So like how much risk we can take in the future, or what's an success measure like that. So the process is underway. The EC will also review APNIC's financial stability target and the capital reserve management. So now we need to some longer-term financial stability. So our goal is effectively manage APNIC's financial affairs to achieve long-term financial sustainability. So cost-based review of short and long-term commitments, and also we need to improve to budget reporting. So cost-based review. In this year, our outcome should be review of system and application to deliver long-term roadmap is potential cost savings, because we have many subscription and services in use, but in the future, we may terminate some of them to have more cost effectiveness. Also, we ensure the travel budget is optimized to meet our goal. And as a longer-term outcomes, we implement application review outcomes and deliver on long-term roadmap. We also improve on our procurement and purchasing processes, supplier review cycles, and contract value management. And we have some improvements on budget reporting. We simplify the methodology for allocating APNIC's budget to pillars and work streams. And critical activity plan outcome will be tracked and reported rather than work streams. We also provide long-term financial forecasting. So it's to have a transparency to members on the APNIC's long-term stability and forecasting to the end of the 4-year strategic plan to be rolled out throughout 2025. So in summary, APNIC's 2025 activity plan and the budget was published to the community 19th December 2024. You can see the activity plan from that link there. Full year budgeted revenue are 34 million. Approved budget expenditure of 35 million. And we are expecting a deficit of 1.1 million. The Secretariat will provide an updated forecast following the current realignment efforts and cost-based review. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. So here we come to the open mic section. And if you have any question, want to ask regarding to APNIC's financial situation or any APNIC activity, please go in front of the mic and say your name and affiliation. Thank you.
Good morning, Rupesh from NP Nepal. My first question is, in 2023, we agreed that these financial reports will be shared a few days in advance so that the members can review that and come to the AGM and discuss about it. While just going through the presentation, we might not be able to review it in a shorter time, and that was agreed, and last year it was circulated. Any reason why it's not circulated this year? Number one. Number two, I was just looking through the financial reports, and this time it's a very shorter version of what was presented last time. The expenses details and the revenue details, all these things are not presented this time as compared to last few years. Any particular reason why it's shortened this time? Thank you. And also, third one, Tony mentioned that the few expenses were deferred, and is the deferred expenses the reason for the profit this year? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can we pass to Nathan?
Nathan Harvey from Secretariat. So thanks, Rupesh, for those questions. The financial report was released Sunday after the EC meeting. The Treasurer's report was published last night, but it's essentially just a summary of the financial report that was posted to the blog on Sunday immediately after the EC meeting. In relation to your question about the brevity of the document, some of the feedback we received last year was that the membership are more interested in the long-term trends of APNIC rather than the sort of line item details. So as Maz mentioned in the Treasurer's report, what we're working towards is to provide the members with more transparency around APNIC's long-term financial stability rather than necessarily the line item details. But all of those details are contained within the financial reports that are available on the website. So if there are specific questions about expense items or revenue items, we're happy to take those questions. Third question, deferred expenditure. So there are a number of reasons for deferred expenditure. Some programs were cancelled. A good example of that was the 24/7 support, which we had initially intended to be an outsourced project. Through the course of the year, we determined that that could be best serviced by APNIC Secretariat in-house. And so for that project, that expenditure won't be incurred in future. That's a genuine saving. But there are other projects that were deferred, and there are a number of reasons for that. We had DG transition, which was a major project that came up throughout the course of last year, which required the Secretariat to defer attention to. Tony mentioned the international tax project, which was, again, from the finance perspective, unexpected, and that required us to defer attention and resources too. So there are many, many reasons for the deferrals. So as I said, some of them are expenses that won't be incurred, but as you would have seen, we are projecting a deficit again in 2025, and that is, I guess, the roll-on impact of those expenditures that were deferred in 2024. We do expect will hit us in 2025. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Rupesh, does that answer your question? Yeah, does that answer your question? Okay, fine. So next.
Lu Hen from Larus Limited. Well, my question is the current operating cost is $35 million, well, Australian dollars, but still. And when I look at APNIC, and I know the new DG is working on restructuring. So in light of that, my question is, would that be necessary to have so many people in the APNIC for running a database of 400 megabytes? Can we optimize operating efficiency? For example, certain customer service job can be outsourced to large language models, which answer 99% of questions. I personally running a company at similar size, and I believe the operation efficiency optimization could save members millions of dollars in the way forward. And in the activity plan, and I understand that our activity plan will not from year to year anymore. It will be a long-term forecast, which in my view, a great improvement. So my question to the new DG is that a way to optimize our staff cost, especially that's a primary cost for the company at this point, and we should expect no more member growth because APNIC has been exhausted a long time, and keep raising prices in the name of inflation does not justify the current operation size. That's on the staff cost part. Second part in the cost of the offices. I understand APNIC have a new office building prepared, and the cost of office lease should be reviewed. Do we need that much office space in a nice beach building? Is that absolutely necessary? And the third question is that because when I was running for the candidacy, I advocated Kate for APNIC to move to Singapore. But if we don't do that in the short term, that will be considered a new legal structure change. It will save us costs in terms of legal compliance and other things, because that the current legal structure setup is very complicated. It's taken engineer graph to look at it and taken a law degree to understand what is actually going on in terms of legality of things. Will we have plans to simplify that in these circles of activity plans, which will save us greatly in terms of the legal and compliance cost? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. I think that's all critical and very important. Regarding to the operational efficiency, I believe the new DG will respond to the question. And some of the question probably the other staff can help. But anyway, all the question asked in the AGM definitely will be taken into account and for easy further consideration. Thank you very much. I'll pass over to DG.
Thank you. So there are a few questions there. The first one related to, is there a way to optimize staff costs? That's something I'm working on. I will share a bit more details in the later segment because I have a segment talking about the strategic plan and activity plan. And tied to that, I'll talk about some of the structure issues that I'm working on as well. But it is something that we should be looking at all the time. So that's definitely a work in progress. I have more to share on that. Then the second part tied to office space. We are also looking right now at the office space because there are two parts to it. The existing office space, whether it is fit for purpose, and do we need necessarily that land area and size? So we're also looking into how we can optimize space where staff have the space that they need, as well as to look at balancing that against cost. So this is also another thing that we're working on right now. The third one related to legal structure. Currently, APNIC is incorporated in Australia. So we work within what is required within that framework as to whether we need to have another entity and register ourselves elsewhere. That is something that will depends on need. So as we progress, as we look at the landscape, whether there's any requirements, then we will look into that as well. So for now, these are the issues that's on the table. Thank you.
Just one more line. I visited APNIC office in Brisbane last year, and 90% of office space was empty. Most people work from home, and I understand that was agile desk assignment. So whoever, there were basically big monitors on the desk, and whoever comes just plug in that computer. I like that model, it's great. But the point is, if 90% of the office space was actually empty, do we really need to pay that much money for an office space we don't actually use? Because we do have to be cautious in this geographic region. Lots of countries, people live on that $1 a day. And we basically charging a tax on all the populations. And if we rent a luxury office space, which 90% will stay empty, that might not be necessary. And if there was a weekly meeting or annual meeting, whatever meeting you require, wouldn't be more cost efficient just renting a share space and for a day or so? That would be much, much cheaper. Thank you.
Chair, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so yes, I'm aligned with you. I think all management think the same way in terms of finding the best optimization for office space and cost, and also for us to work with our managers to provide. So there is this philosophy about coming back to office. So we have to provide value for staff to want to come to office. It's not the other way around. Or because we have office, that's why staff needs to come to office. So my thinking is aligned with you in that sense. So we have to find the optimization of working with the teams to come to office if they need to, and where they don't need to, then it's fine. They can work from anywhere. So we are working on that right now. It is a piece of work that we're working on. So we will look to optimize office space and cost, and also work with our staff so that they can be the most productive, whether they are working remotely or coming to office. So that's definitely something we're working on. Now, I realized I missed one point that you were making at the beginning, so I'll address that as well. So, whether APNIC, our work should be more focused specifically on the registry work, and do we need so many staff? So right now we are guided by the strategic plan. The strategic plan provides 4 pillars. So there is the registry piece, which is extremely core. Later when I talk about strategic plan, I will highlight this as well. The registry remains the core business. But there are a couple of other pillars which are equally as important as guided by the strategic plan, that is on the development side and on the engagement side. So we will put in some resources on that part. In the later part, when I share the details, they are synergistic to one another and in many ways depend on each other. For example, if we don't actively engage and partner in the global internet ecosystem, and where required, we also defend the single interoperable internet, we will have no single unified internet for us to distribute the resources in the first place. So there are aspects of work that are required for us to do because they are dependencies on one another for us to then be a registry. So I think there is a lot of wisdom from the EC in terms of the strategic plans, key pillars. So we are guided by that, and at least for this strategic plan cycle, and if there are any adjustments to be made in the next strategic plan cycle, from the Secretariat, we will execute those accordingly. Thank you.
I'd like to clarify, I wasn't asking to shrink the activity pillars, at least not at this moment. I was asking, do you need so many layers of management? In APNIC itself, I saw you as DG, I saw directors, I saw managers, I saw team leads. You are a company smaller than the one I manage, and I only have 3 layers. So can we improve the operation efficiency by at least get rid of the layer and structure and organize from that point of view without sacrificing any activity for the moment? And I believe if we do that, we can at least save millions of dollars in salary and staff insurance costs. And on the first side, the APNIC office space, yes. But my question to you is, do we need them to be in the office all the time? If they, they're doing pretty well during pandemic without an office space and they are not there, and even after pandemic, 90% people would prefer, it seems when on a work day, I was in our APNIC office and 90% chair were empty. So people do prefer work at home. So if you need was just temporary, just like cloud servers, right? We can rent a timeshare. We don't need to rent that nice office building next to the beach. Thank you. That would be all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question. And we keep monitoring regarding to how to improve APNIC operational efficiency as well. And regarding to office space utilization, some reason could be sampling reason. For example, I've been visiting APNIC office several times, and some of them is quite empty, but some of them is quite crowded. So probably have a more visit to APNIC office, we have different perspective. But anyway, we will try our best to improve the operational efficiency in terms of APNIC operation. Thank you very much. So we still have a few minutes. Any question? Okay, hearing none, can I pass over to Sunny? Okay, sorry. Hello, Paul, can you hear us?
I sure can.
Okay, I think that's a special section for you, particularly for you. And would you like to start to saying a few words to all the participants in the APNIC?
Yeah, thanks, Kenny. I've got a few words to say. Good morning, everyone. It is really nice to be with you. I'm really sorry I couldn't make it in person. either this time or in Wellington. You might know that since leaving APNIC, I've got some new responsibilities which are a bit hard to get away from right now, but I'm not sure if you can see that one, but there she is. So I am sorry for that, but I do want to thank you, APNIC and the community, for this chance to be here and to say hello and goodbye as well, I guess, to everyone. I was at APNIC for nearly 25 years, from 1998 until just last year. And I have to say it was the most enjoyable, challenging, privileged position I've ever been in. It was a true honor to be able to serve such a unique, important organization, a great team of dedicated staff all the time, a fantastic community, and a really inspiring, important mission. And it's that mission that drew me to APNIC in the first place, the stewardship responsibility that APNIC uniquely held for internet resources in this region, and also the public benefit aspect of that, and the benefits that APNIC was providing would be able to build according to the mission of APNIC, or the purpose, because according to the bylaws of APNIC, the objects of the organisation are not only to serve as the RIR, but also to represent the interests of the APNIC members and community, and to assist with internet development in the region. And these things really motivated me, and I think have motivated many people who've worked for APNIC over the years. And I'm really proud that we've been able to do all of that while APNIC also was growing substantially into a substantial organisation and having real impact as well, I think. And of course, there are many people who've been involved with that, way too many to list here and now, but I do want to acknowledge quite a few people who have been intimately involved with APNIC over the years. We started in Japan, of course. That was under the leadership and support of JNIC, which became JPNIC. So Jun Murai and Shigeki Goto, Toru Takahashi, David Conrad, amongst others. Without them, none of us would be right here today, right now. And in fact, without the continuing support of the Japanese community, JPNIC and its staff, and I want to mention our friend Akinori Maimura in particular, we also wouldn't be here. Once APNIC got started with the membership structure, it had an elected EC who should also be recognised. So people like Jun, like Toru, Jeff Houston, Sanjaya, Sing Lee, Ma Yun, Jessica, Chi Hu, Akinori again, Tommy Chen, of course, Garab, Perha, James Spenceley, Kenny Huang, the current chair, and many others. People who've worked really hard over the years and given APNIC and me as well as DG a really critical, a lifeline actually of wisdom and stable governance for the organisation. The staff of APNIC have been also incredibly dedicated, and we have many long-standing staff members from all across the region. Again, I can't name them all, but there are quite a few. Connie, Irene, Ellie, Anna, Byron, Sanjaya, George, Jeff, Chi Hu, Philip, Shane, Pablo, Carla, Louise, Patty, Jan, Adley, Vivek, Andre, Tom, Anton, Blondine, Molly, Sienna, and many more. The staff have played an incredible role in building APNIC so far to here today. But last but not least, so many community members, APNIC member organisations, those who actually provide the resources for APNIC to do what it does, those who respond to the APNIC survey with really critical guidance to APNIC. Many volunteers from the community, especially at meetings like this one, who give time for SIGs, for supporting elections, for committees, councils. All of this shows the strength, the diversity and the expertise that we share in the community. As for me, myself, I've never said I was a good Director General. I may have said I was the best. Sorry, David Conrad. But anyway, I certainly have said, at the risk of invoking some competition, that APNIC has been the best RIR for so many reasons that we don't need to go into. But I think it's true, and it's all down to the people that I've mentioned, the founders, the EC, the staff, the members, and the community. So again, I really want to give my thanks to all here, past and present, for serving APNIC so well and for so long. Now, APNIC's in the hands of a new DG. I know Jerong and consider him to be a good friend personally, and also to the community. So I do wish you well, Jerong, and sincerely for you to become the best DG that APNIC's ever had, if you're not already. And really best of luck with that. On that note, I've got a few parting thoughts for you, Jerong, and for the EC and the community. So please forgive me for throwing in my 2 cents worth here. APNIC really is immensely important, unique in its role, in its ability and its potential to serve the region. I'm proud of the track record that we have and what's been built, but this is just APNIC's history so far up until now, and there's a lot more that can be done and no doubt will be done in future. You know, the internet's orders of magnitude larger and more important than it was 25 years ago. The corresponding value of APNIC's work has increased correspondingly by orders of magnitude. And because the internet's not about to stop growing, I think APNIC's value and importance will also go on increasing. So I can only urge you all to think of APNIC's future in terms of a successful and powerful role, and to ensure that APNIC has got the resources, the moral, the political support, and really crucially, the community participation that APNIC needs in order to thrive and to achieve more great things in future. And not only to achieve those things actually, but importantly, that APNIC needs to be able to protect and defend itself and its role, because to be honest, self-defense is also APNIC's responsibility. And no one here can expect someone else to come in, riding in and protect us from whatever threats or challenges we might have. We're adults now, we have the resources and the capabilities to do that, and have to accept that serious responsibility. So yes, it's true, APNIC's costs have grown slower than inflation. But they're still, to be very frank, they're still a small cost to the internet, and they do deserve to be covered. I'm sure, I know there's room for more efficiency in pursuing APNIC's mission, but I really hope not at a cost to the mission. I hope the community will stay the course on revenue generation over the next few years to really ensure that APNIC has got the capacity and the stability to move into the future with certainty. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I already mentioned APNIC's public benefit mission, which I think is understood by most of us, but maybe forgotten by too many others as time has passed. And for my part, I regret that this has happened. I hope APNIC can find ways to keep finding ways to ensure that relevance of the organisation is better understood and recognised and supported. But part of that, I think, is for APNIC to carry out its responsibilities with real diligence and without fear, so that the role of stewardship, which, as I've said, is such an important part of our job, it's not just stewardship in name, but it's truly APNIC's practice and impact as well. So I really do feel the time's coming where harder decisions are needed and will be needed about a level of active stewardship to be applied to ensure that IP addresses, that's IPv4 now and IPv6 into the very long distant future, to ensure that they'll be managed for the public benefit. That is to be actively managed with active policy development, producing policies that will ensure stewardship of all the addresses under APNIC's management. I really think, just very frankly, if APNIC is not able to do that, to make firm decisions about the use of scarce public resources, then it's hard to say that the stewardship role that we have is really very meaningful, or that the organisation is covering that properly as it is expected. So I do think in coming years these questions are going to be raised more and more, and should be on our minds. And the last thing I want to say is about the internet itself, which is so much more powerful and important than it was when APNIC started. For years now, APNIC has worked towards a vision of an open, global, stable and secure internet that serves this region. And I think that vision is more important now than ever. It's more important to global society and security and business and governance. And even I believe it's important to world peace in these days and to the future of the planet. Now, just to be clear, I'm talking about the IP layer here. I'm talking about the internet that we and network operators know and love, not about all the layers above, which contain all sorts of problematic and non-open and sometimes antisocial things. But the IP layer, the internet itself, its openness, its globality, if you like, its stability and security have still got to be assured, and they will need to be assured through the proper stewardship of addresses for as long as anyone can imagine. So I think if this community, the APNIC community of engineers, operators, policy people and others can stay with the vision of the internet as open, global, stable and secure, and that is the IP layer of the internet, open, global, stable and secure, that if we can do that, then that's a huge service to the rest of the internet and to the world, and it's also a big responsibility to continue to take on. And so I really, again, I think there's a very important role for APNIC in the community and one that APNIC is expected to play and one that we really shouldn't diminish or walk away from in any sense. So look, I'll leave it there. Thanks again to all of you, to friends and colleagues in the room and those who aren't, for all the great work and for making my work at APNIC really such a wonderful and satisfying challenge for all of 25 years. Thanks so much. Thank you. I can't hear anything at the moment, but I can see you. Thanks very much.
You couldn't be here in person. Is he offline? Oh, still there. I saw you offline now. Yeah, I believe I believe a lot of people come here just eager to see you, especially I believe a lot of people request to see you say a few words. Can I invite, if anyone wants to say a few words to Paul, can we go to the microphone, especially Rajesh from ISPA? Do you have anything to want to acknowledge to Paul Wilson? So anyone who are welcome to go to the microphone if you want to say a few words to the Paul. Hearing them. Okay.
Rajesh Charya, on behalf of Indian Internet Service Provider Association. Paul, congratulations for sharing the image of your, I think, baby. Congratulations. We remember we met first time in September 2007 when the APNIC 24 was in New Delhi. And after that in Apricot 2012 in New Delhi, where you were very much instrumental in granting NIR to India. And I remember the date is 2nd of March 2012. Thanks for that also. We will remember you a lot for your guidance and for your support to the community. And this has given a big challenge to now Jia to fill that post with the same size. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Anyone else? Tommy? Yes.
Hi, Paul. I've known Paul before he became the APNIC chair. We did some work for some community networking outreach projects in the poorer countries in Asia. I was in the committee that finally selected Paul to be the DG. I would say that I think we made the right decision. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, Tommy. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy. Now we know who made the decision now. So anyone are welcome to say a few words to Paul. Okay, Paul, thank you very much. And actually, we'd like to express our deepest gratitude to you, especially you leading the APNIC for 25 years. And I think Paul's contribution not only shaped the internet, shaped the APNIC itself, but also advanced the global internet community as well. So your legacy will continue to inspire us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul.
Okay. I'm honored. Thank you.
Okay, right. Thank you. So let's move to the next will be. Oh, okay. The next one will be break. So let's take a break. But before break, just to remind you, if you haven't voted for the EC, please go so, because the election will be closed at 2 p.m. So please welcome to vote any of your preferred candidate. Thank you very much. Let's come back at 11:30.
Words can't describe just how much I miss you whenever you're gone.